NCAA Football 14 has been out for 10 years, and to this day, there's a game mode that I've never played. I was scrolling through the menus when I found the Heisman Challenge, and I decided I wanted to attempt playing this with RG3. If you all remember his college days, he was an extremely fun player to watch, and now he's back in NCAA Football on the updated rosters. I couldn't believe I had never seen this game mode before, but I was ready to find out what it was all about, and this is the first time an NCAA Football face was actually pretty accurate. The game itself gives me multiple challenges to complete, and then I decided to add 2 more on top of those to get this finalized list of objectives. If I can't complete all 6 of those by the end of today's video, I'll be giving away a jersey to a random commenter, and it won't be easy because I'll be on the hardest difficulty. Luckily, RG3's first game is against an FCS school, making this a great opportunity for him to pad his stats. If I'm going to complete all 6 of these challenges by the end of the season in this video, I have to be on top of it, and I can almost guarantee if I make mistakes and don't do this perfectly, it's probably not going to happen. The good news is we're already down inside the 5 though, and that is going to be an interception. Somehow this ball went through Winfield's hands, and I am not happy about that. I am going to throw this one up the seam though, and of course that's also going to be picked off. But this has to be a minor setback. We're going to get a huge play to Holmes here for a nice 20-yard gain, which is big for us because we needed something like that to happen, and I also can't forget to get rushing yards with RG3 as well because we're going to need a ton of those. Another thing to really focus on will be passing touchdowns, and that's going to be the first, but we're going to need 37 more, and I can't believe they just tied it up. This was supposed to be a cakewalk of a first game, and this might be the first big play for us, as that is going to be a dot on the money to Presley, and RG3 is loving that throw. If you haven't noticed already, I can only play as the quarterback, so we have to watch defense from the sidelines, and that's going to be a turnover. It looks like we are finally starting to figure a few things out, and I'm going to go for another deep pass, which is going to be right on the money. If we're going to complete the 37 touchdowns in a season challenge, we need to get at least 3 a game, but that's hard to do when wide receivers are dropping balls like this. I just have to trust that we're going to find the end zone anyway, which we are, and if anything's going to cause us to not win a championship, I think it's going to be our defense. They've given up 20 points to an FCS school, and once we get into Big 12 play, you know how those teams are going to play, but now we're just going to have to take off with RG3 and dive into the end zone, which should pretty much seal this one. I can't believe it took this long, but we're going to start with a win, and even though this stat line looks like it's amazing, it's really not, as it came with 4 interceptions. The only good thing is we are on track to finish all 4 of these goals, but as the year goes on, our schedule is going to get harder and harder. This Heisman Challenge game mode seems pretty difficult, but at least our first few games are easy, and I'm hoping that we can get through this entire game without having any turnovers versus the Bulls. If RG3 is going to win the Heisman and a championship, that's one of the things that has to happen, but our wide receiver just stopped his route, causing another pick. And I am starting to get extremely frustrated, so I think the best move is just to take off with RG3 and get a ton of yards with him on the ground. We need to rush for about 690 total yards with him anyway, and that might be the first of 6 challenges we complete because everything else has been a struggle. I'm not sure how we're going to continue to win once we get to conference play, but at least I still have this game and 1 game afterwards to try and figure it out because I'm going to need it. There's no reason that we should be struggling this much against a small school, but we are, and that is going to be a dot on the money to Presley for almost a score, but because he got stopped short, we still need to get in, and that should have been a catch. It is ridiculous how many players on this team can't hold on to the ball, but that one will be good. And to end the half, we do have a chance to go down the field and get another touchdown. I know it hasn't looked pretty, but I still am on pace to get the 3 in a game, and that is a laser. And honestly, what I think is holding us back is this is the 2023 Baylor team he's surrounded with, and they cannot hold on to it. It's so hard to watch all of these drops, but that's what you get when you're on the hardest game mode, and hopefully that is going to actually be a catch. In the end, what started as a disaster didn't end up too bad, and I might be able to still get almost 500 passing yards in this game if stuff like this goes our way, which it does. RG3 sitting at 410 yards right now, and if he can have an 80-yard play, that would do it for that first challenge, which might be possible. We're going to try to find R1 here, which is going to happen. 16's going to hold on to it, and Presley is going to go all the way. I wasn't sure if we'd be able to do it, but RG3 got it done, and that's going to knock off the first of 6 challenges in this video. It's going to be a long season, but I'm proud that one's complete, and our final less difficult game is going to be against ULM before we get into Big 12 conference play, but even against them, we cannot catch. I don't understand why these guys have such butterfingers, but because of it, I think the best move would be just to roll out and take off, so I was hoping I'd be able to do that, but they adjusted very quickly. If we're struggling in this one, I can't even imagine how the Oklahoma and Texas games are going to go, but we will see when we get there. For now, all we can do is hopefully win the Heisman with RG3, which is going to be hard to do when he's fumbling it. I am not trying to give away yet another jersey to you all if I can't do this. this, but this game mode's definitely gotten the best of me so far. The worst part is when coach calls stuff like halfback screens, which I really don't want to have to run, but it is what it is because I just found out there's a feature I haven't been using that's available for me, and it slows down the game to where I can make passes like that. It's called reaction time, and I think I get a good amount of it, so that should be what I'm never going to do again. I am never going into that again. I'm going to get one more chance before the end of the quarter to take this team down the field, and I'm going to start it off by taking off for 15, which just builds up a little more momentum so we can come out on this next one and throw it over the defense, which is finally going to work out for us. That's a big pickup. And what on earth is our coach wearing? Even RG3 is a bit confused as he's going to stumble over on this play. And I swear, if we do not get points on this drive, I'm going to be disgusted, but the 4 verticals is going to work for 6. Hal Presley has to be our best receiver on this team. And the best part about not having to play defense is when the computer gets a pick 6 for you. I wasn't able to see it, but now we're up 14-7 with the ball, so we are in a much better position, and I am no longer as worried as I was about a minute or two ago as we're going to go down to the 5. All we really need is to make sure that we stay undefeated through this game, and if we can get some passing touchdowns as well, that would be great. So far, we have been on pace to finish the season with 37, but that is never a guarantee, so the fact that we were able to get one there is huge, and I'm going to try juke all of these guys out, which we're able to do. We get the block, we get into the end zone, and I know it has seemed a little rough and slow at some points, but I am really enjoying playing with RG3 in this game. And again, he had a pretty respectable stat line. However, despite that, he is sitting at 5th on the Heisman watch list, but at least for now, we're ranked as the number 6 team in the country, and we're also on pace to finish all of the video's challenges. Our first Big 12 game is against West Virginia, and since they're 4-1, it's going to be very difficult to beat them. I can already tell that they can keep up with RG3, which is not good because they're fast enough to do so, and I doubt that our receivers are going to be able to toast their corners, but there we go. Hal Presley comes up with a huge catch, and he continues to be our best wide receiver. I'm not quite sure why our offensive line did not block for me on that play, but I'm just going to take off anyways, and this is going to be our first score. The bad thing is now that we're playing good teams, they're much more likely to respond back with a touchdown of their own, and since West Virginia did that, this is where playing perfectly is going to have to come into factor. I don't know why our wide receiver stopped his route there and then let them pick it off, but we cannot have things like that happen because now we're trailing 14-7 and we need to tie it back up. If they're going to press us, I'm going to have to go for the bombs just because those could be like 50-yard plays, but that's a bad decision. And considering we're trailing 21-7 to West Virginia of all teams, I really need to get my act together. We might have to do a lot of scrambling, and I'm okay with that because whenever I try to pass the ball, they just don't catch it. There's nothing more frustrating than making the right read and not being able to capitalize on it, but now I'm taking a sack, and we just went from should have having a first down to being on a long 3rd down, which we still get. That is very massive, and if the comeback is going to happen, we do need to find the end zone on this drive, which thankfully I just spoke into existence. The Mountaineers are going to attempt a 53-yarder, which is going to go straight in. So with a minute left in the first, we're down by 10, but at least we have the ball and a chance to still score. Even a field goal would be great, but it's 3rd and 6 and nothing is open here, so I'm going to have to make a play with RG3. He is going to somehow evade like 5 defenders, and he's going to swerve inside. How is he still running? How is he still going? I don't know how he does it, but this is the most fun I've had playing with a quarterback. And tight end Ben Sims is our most reliable receiver. Unfortunately, it looks like West Virginia is going to score again though, but if we can hold them to 3, that is much better than a touchdown, and that's not going to happen. We cannot lose this game, but it's looking like that might actually be a possibility. And I'm going to just go ahead and take off with RG3 here, do a little spin move, which was not the right decision. We are very lucky that they missed the field goal because they could have gone up 17 on that drive, but they were not able to do so, and there's another interception. Wonderful, just wonderful. Our defense is not going to continue to bail us out, so we need to start scoring, and that is finally going to be a huge play. Winfield is going to break free all the way into the end zone, but I'm starting to wonder if it's even going to be possible for me to win the Heisman. RG3's already thrown like 15 picks this season, which would theoretically be way too many for a normal person to win it, but he's also making a ton of plays for very big gains, so I can't have any more games with 4 interceptions. One thing I have noticed is when they press us, our wide receivers are quick enough to beat them off the press, and that is going to be another massive score. I can't believe it, but I was able to get 3 of those in a row, and now the ball's in JT Daniels' hands, down by 4, which isn't going well for the Mountaineers as they are punting the ball back to us. I don't understand why they did that because now we can pretty much run it all out, but I might get greedy here because they are pressing number 14 and it's zone, so I'm just going to have to throw it to our tight end who is going to hold on to it. Now that I've figured out that we can beat the press, I am a lot more confident going into the rest of the season, and RG3 is just way too good. He trucks a guy, and that's going to put us up by 2 possessions. It took me a while, but I figured it out going into the end of the game, and JT Daniels has just been struggling as he continues to miss throws. If they aren't able to get in here, it's going to officially be over, and that's it. 4 interceptions, yet we still get the win, and we're almost midway through the passing touchdowns challenge challenge already. The difficult matchups don't stop though, as next up is Kansas State, and it's on the road, which could end up being pretty bad for us. So far, they have looked very solid on defense, but I think we're going to have R1 for a huge gain here as he was able to bounce around. Presley, of course, is who comes down with it. And if we're still able to win the Heisman with RG3, it is going to all be because of him. Nothing's better than getting thrown back out there after your team gets a pick six as well. I'm going to go for a big shot here, which ended up being a terrible decision. Of course, I throw yet another interception, and I really have to stop going for those huge plays. I'm still not quite sure how they end up getting sacks on stuff like that where they're able to get in, but I almost took a safety there, and I probably should have thrown that to R1, but I'm still going to be able to pick it up with RG3's legs. And now I'm going to have to throw a laser to my favorite wide receiver, Hal Presley. I don't understand how, but he always manages to get wide open, and now I'm going to try to go for the tight end on the run, which is going to work out. Even on Heisman, RG3 plays amazing, and this is a situation where they pressed our receivers, and it just didn't go well for them. 14 is going to burn both of them, and he's going to break a couple tackles, putting us in a prime position to go down the field and get on the board yet again. I'm going to try to take off and get a big gain here. RG3 somehow got around everybody, and the game won't even let me see what his stats are, but we do know he's a 99 overall, and I would assume the EA gave him just 99s in pretty much everything. He's just way too quick, even on Heisman mode, for me to think it's any slower, and again, he is delivering a dot. For the first time in 5 games, I've started one playing very well, finding all of the open receivers, and I do have that one bad interception, but we're not going to talk about it. Besides that, things have been going almost perfectly, and I'm hoping it stays that way, as midway through the third quarter, I've already thrown for 6 touchdowns, and I'm going for 7. Unfortunately, coach wants me to hand this one off, but I'm not going to complain because up until this point, it was never much of a contest. However, Kansas State has gotten it to a 4th and 9, but they're not going to pick it up, and since their comeback hopes have fallen short, we're going to be 5-0. The only bad thing is I still had multiple turnovers, and I thought that would factor into the Heisman race, but we're sitting at number 1. I mean, through just 5 games, I've already had 12 picks, along with 5 fumbles on top of that as well, but if we keep winning, I'm not sure it's really going to matter, and we're at the midpoint or higher for all of these challenges. At this point, my main focus has to be on making sure that we don't lose a single game, because back when this game mode was created, there was not a college football playoff, so only the best 2 teams in the country are going to make it at the end of the year to the championship, and we have to make sure that we're one of them, and with 1 loss, I'm not sure it's really going to be a possibility. With that in mind, we just have to continue taking care of business, and I am going to try to go for the deep bomb here, which is going to work, but that was definitely a risky throw. I do wish that coach called read options more often, but I don't think there's many in this playbook, and this whole thing is turning into a disaster. Please get out of this. I just lost the football as well. What on earth is even going on? That was a huge loss of yards, and it's now 3rd and 28. I'm just going to throw up a bomb, and there's no way that worked. I don't know how this team does it, but they always come up clutch when they're needed, and of course other times they drop easy passes, but that's expected, and I'm going to throw this ball up to Hal Presley. I don't know how he continues to do it, but he came down with that one, and we're going to finish the first quarter with a lead. The best part is Oklahoma State is coming out in the second pressing us, so I am going to go for the long shot, and I don't know why, but our receivers are just quick. This is on this year's roster, so I'm guessing that Baylor just had a ton of very, very fast guys, and they're also good at beating the press, which is great because it makes RG3's job so much easier, especially when he can just scramble if nothing's open. I've done a lot of playing through player careers, but I have to say I am enjoying this game mode in NCAA football. That's going to be an interception though, so I shouldn't be this excited because all these turnovers are just going to hurt my chances at winning the Heisman. I'm going to have to take off here to make up for it and get a nice 22 yards, which is great and all, but we still need like 670 on the season, so I'm just going to continue to go for 10. If I don't remember to specifically target rushing yards, I'll probably forget to get enough at the end of the year, and that's because coach has only given me the chance to run the read option like 3 or 4 times so far. I don't really understand why that's the case, but we are doing well, and to end the half, I'm going to go to the end zone, which is going to work out. We should have all known that Iowa State wasn't going to put up a good fight, but I would have never imagined it getting this bad, and RG3 somehow just broke that tackle. Can he go all the way? No, he cannot. He got caught, but I'm having so much fun playing with him. I don't really care, and this is one of the times where I'm going to go in slow mode, but I just haven't been able to make that work out for us. I know it's supposed to help, so I really want to be able to use it, but none of it really makes sense here. I'd rather just try to take off, and in the end, we haven't scored in a while because I've just been screwing around, but it's not going to matter. We're still going to get the win, and RG3 is going to finish with almost 400 passing yards. The only issue is right now Travion Henderson's beating us out for the Heisman, but at least we're tied for the top of the Big Ten with Oklahoma, and we're going to end up playing them very soon, but first we're going to have to take on Kansas, who is 5-1 this season. I'm not quite sure why they're not ranked in the top 25 because they're clearly pretty good, and that might end up hurting RG3's chances of winning the Heisman because this won't be seen as a quality win to the computer, even though it's definitely going to end up being one if we're able to pull it off like these crazy runs. I don't understand how he can turn such a broken play into a huge gain, but he's been doing it all year for us, and honestly, the defense has also held it down. They forced Kansas into a 4th and inches here, and they were almost able to get the stop, but even though they're probably going to end up giving up a touchdown, I'm not upset. So far, they've stepped it up when we need them the most, like in the West Virginia game, so I'm expecting them to be able to do that throughout the rest of the year. Now that I've started to get into a little bit of a rhythm on offense, I feel like we have a good chance of going all the way. What I don't understand is how some of our players make catches on stuff like that, but they can't hold on to the simplest of things, and now I'm going to fumble. That's been the one issue I just haven't been able to fix. We've still had so many turnovers, and that is going to probably be picked. It should have been because it was an underthrow, and I just can't believe how bad both offenses are playing. If Kansas was on top of it right now, we would be in a lot of trouble, and I can't escape the pressure. It's gotten us to a 3rd and 17 where the worst thing possible would be taking a safety. I'm just going to have to take off with RG3 and go down. Of course, that's going to lead to the Jayhawks probably going up with this run here, but if we end the half with a touchdown, it'll be 14-14, and I am confident that we're going to be able to do that because RG3 is making plays. He's breaking a sack, and now he is delivering a dot to Winfield over the middle, getting down to the 40, and he might be 6 for 15 right now, but who cares? When you have a quarterback that can make plays like that, you just have to accept the highs and lows, and hopefully I can get us back on a high because I would love to end the half with a score, which I think we're going to do. It's also a good day because coach finally called a read option, and I'm going to take that in. Now we're going into the second half with a tie game, and on 3rd and 10, I think the best move is just to take off here because none of those routes got open, and if I'm being honest, I look at one wide receiver, and if he isn't able to create separation, I just go ahead and try to take off. So don't leave in the comments you had him open on this play because most likely I didn't see it, and I'm doing my best to stay composed even though I'm very frustrated with that recent drop, but because I didn't get upset, Winfield was able to come up with the catch and make up for it on the next play, and now he's going to get another big gain. He isn't going to be able to walk tomorrow, but as long as we get into the end zone, I don't really care, and I wish Kansas would stop scoring because I do not want this to be a close one. I feel like I'm going to end up throwing for like 500 or 600 yards by the end of the game if we keep it up at this pace, and our tight end is coming up clutch. Ben Sims is very consistent, but I hated the routes that were out there on the field, and I'm not going to be able to escape that. Unfortunately, it is now 2nd and goal from the 20, and at this point, I really don't see anything getting open, so we're in a spot where we might lose our first game, and the whole video could be going bad, but our tight end's going to drop it, and that was our chance to get in there. Instead, it's just going to be 24-21, but our defense came up with a huge interception, and now we should be able to get more points. These drops are literally killing me, but as long as we get in here with his legs, I'm not going to mind it. I can't believe he dropped it though, and it seems like everything is starting to fall apart for the Jayhawks. We have had a couple big plays, and that is going to be another one on the deep pulse to Holmes into the end zone, giving us a 3-possession lead. Kansas is trying to fight back, but if we could hold on to the ball by just running out the clock, I think we're going to end up being okay. Slide, please do not fumble. And again, it's rare, but I have a chance to go for the read option here, which isn't going to work. We pretty much just need to pick this up to seal it, and I am going to try to go deep. That isn't open, but I do have Winfield over the middle who holds on to it, and I'm glad to say that coach is finally letting me run the option a little bit more. For some reason, he wants to pass it on 2nd and goal, but that is going to be it, and we're playing extremely well going into our biggest game of the year. Oklahoma is currently undefeated just like us as they're ranked the number 2 team, and since it's raining, drops like that are probably going to occur a lot today. I hope he can pick this up, but he can't. Unfortunately, that was the case, but Dylan Gabriel's on a 3rd and 13, which he's not going to get, and now we have a chance to get on the board again. It looks like they're going to send the blitz here, so I'm going to try to go deep, and number 6 just got boxed. If Oklahoma's corners are playing that well today, we could be in trouble. That was a very late read from RG3, but the reason for that was the play action because Winfield was open for a while. Obviously, it is not ideal to go down early against Oklahoma, especially because they're so good, but there's still a lot of time left, so it's too early to say that they figured us out. The weather might not favor our style of play since we do like to pass it a lot, but at least RG3 does have the ability to scramble like this, and I've learned my lesson, so I'm going to take the play action off of every play from now on, and that way we can actually get the throw out and get a big gain. This is by far the most important matchup we have this season because if we lose this one, then we're probably not going to make the championship, and I also don't think RG3 is going to win the Heisman Trophy if we cannot pull this one off. What's surprising is here on 4th and 10, coach did not send out the kicker. We have to go for it, and Presley's going to hold on. It was an aggressive play call, but I guess our kicker's not that good, and it's just going to pay off. We should be able to get in relatively easily from here, and on the next play, that's what happened. Oklahoma did score again, though, so I'm looking to respond back, and they pressed us, so I'm going to try to bomb them deep. Our receiver created no separation, but he comes down with it, and Armani Winfield has been incredible in all of these recent showings. He has stepped up when we've needed him to, and it's going to put us in a decent position. Now we just need to finish this drive off, and that's a bad sack. I didn't even see it coming, but we're probably not going to get points on this drive, and I'm just going to hope that that works. I don't know how it did, but Gavin Holmes holds onto the ball, and with a minute left in the half, we actually have a chance to take a lead. We're trailing by 3 right now, but RG3 is going to roll out and throw a laser across the middle, putting us in a much better position, and the offensive line is already collapsing, so I'm going to have to roll out and take off, which isn't going to end up being too bad. The flexibility that he has offered for us this season has changed everything, and there is nobody on this side of the field, so I'm going to try to get over. He sheds one, sheds two, making it just 2nd and 1, where we're going to easily pick that up to Winfield down inside the 5. It happened very quick, but we're going to get into the end zone here, and I'd love to say our lead last, but Oklahoma scored right off a kickoff return, and there's no way that they just intercepted that. That was the dumbest interception I've seen in a while, but our defense held strong, so it's not going to matter, and we're going to have to respond back. They came out with a press, so we're going to attempt to bomb them over the top, and that's exactly what we should be able to do, assuming he holds on to this. And right now, we are in a much better position, but there's still so much time left. Oklahoma scored again, so I guess we're going to have to continue to trade touchdowns back and forth, and that is going to be another laser. As long as they go with this aggressive press, I think we're going to be able to just easily dot them up like that. And I'm hoping that we eventually get a stop, but that just hasn't been the case at all. Now with 4.5 minutes left, we are trailing by 4, and I am going to roll out with RG3 because I saw this side of the field being wide open. The block is being held perfectly over there. RG3 is going to get down all the way to the 35, and I'm so glad that I haven't turned the ball over recently, because if I would have, this game would have already been over. Unfortunately, it only took Oklahoma a minute to score, so once again, we have to score, and I'd like this to be the final drive of the game. Since I can't control when we take timeouts, I probably can't make that happen, but I also need to get on top of it because we should never have taken a sack in that position. After letting it run down to about a minute left, the pressure is starting to get on, and I'm just going to go ahead and slide for a first. Of course, coach feels the need to take timeouts right now, but now that he's wasted 2, there shouldn't be many issues the rest of the game with him taking them, so I'm okay with that. We really only need about 25 more yards, and I am going to scramble if it's open. It would simply make no sense not to, and that is going to be a dot, but unfortunately, he was marked short, so I had to take our final timeout, and I'm just going to run it in. After somehow picking up 23 yards in 3 seconds, Oklahoma is in Hail Mary range, and it is up, but it's going to be marked short. This was honestly way too close for comfort, but you know what? We get the win, and RG3 had a Heisman performance. In fact, somehow he finished 2 challenges in that one game, and that means half of the video's challenges are now complete. We're also now sitting as the #2 team in the country, but there are a few other undefeated programs, which is not good because we can only have one of those schools finish undefeated. The reasoning behind that is we don't play in a conference championship in the Big 12 on this game, and all of those schools would be able to do so, so we have to continue to win, and then they also have to lose, because if not, we're not going to be able to make the national championship, and this heat is insane right now. R1 is streaking down the field wide open, so I'm going to find him. Winfield is going to get into the end zone, and I don't know why we're playing on the Red River Showdown field, but that's exactly what's happening today. I'm guessing the game just got a few things mixed up, but as long as we win, none of this stuff matters, so I'm going to try to take off with RG3. He is going to somehow escape the pocket in what should have been an easy sack, and he's going to get a huge gain instead. I feel like I've said it a lot, but this is by far the most fun I have had playing with a player in NCAA football, and hopefully I am able to complete all of the video's challenges, because I think I can do it. For a while, I was pretty skeptical, but RG3's turned out to be even better than I thought, and the only thing holding him back is his teammates. If it wasn't for like the 50 drops this season, I'm sure we would have won games by even more, but because it keeps happening, we're going to have to live with it. And what on earth did we just call? That was a halfback pass. I was so confused why the ball was not in my hands, but I ended up figuring it out, and R1 is wide open over the middle. I'm pretty sure that's our backup tight end going for like 60, which is a huge gain, and my goal is to finish this game without a single turnover. I'm not sure if I've been able to do that yet this season, but I think it's possible, and I am going to be taking a risk by trying to bomb them on plays like this, but I think that risk is very justified, except it's not. And my goal is to finish this game without a single turnover. I probably shouldn't have ever made that goal, because before I did, I was doing just fine, and now we're in a game that's only a 2-possession one, so we need to step it back up. Evidently, I have found out that these tech corners can keep up with my guys, and so I'm going to stop trying to bomb them deep, because all we really need to do is get into field goal range. We're in a position where if we can go up by 3 possessions, this game is over, and that might have been a very bad sack to take, but it looks like we're going to be okay as that ball's floated perfectly, and you know that we have to finish this drive off with 6 instead of 3, so I'm going to take off with RG3 for a huge gain, which is just going to lead to another touchdown as I have slowed the game down, and I'm going to make the right read. It's going to work as well, which was actually the first time I have used that feature in the right way. Now to end it off, I am going to go for a couple extra yards just because we can to pad the stats, and that's what you have to do to stay in the running for the Heisman. We're now sitting at the #1 position, and I'm 517 yards short of completing our 4th challenge. Syracuse also lost, meaning there's only 3 undefeated teams left, but being ranked as the #3 team in the country, we are seen as the odd team out, so I am a little bit nervous. Also, of all the stadiums I've played at so far, Oklahoma State's feels like it is by far the biggest, which is a little bit odd, because I guess I didn't realize how massive their stadium really was, at least from this point of view. I mean, it is fully packed of fans that are going to watch their favorite team get their backs blown out by Baylor, but that's okay, because at least they get to watch RG3, who is a very exciting talent, as he's going to find another open receiver. Looking back, it's kind of weird that we struggled with the FCS teams, but we're doing great in the Big 12, but I also hadn't played a Road to Glory in a very long time, so that probably has something to do with it. Now that I've gotten used to playing from the quarterback's point of view as well, it's not really that bad anymore, and I'm starting to make a lot of great plays. It is a different angle, so it does have its pros and cons, but I just need to be able to get a throw off here, and there is so much pressure, and I probably should not have run backwards. So now it's 3rd and goal from forever away, but the tight end is open, and he drops the ball. Obviously, that is very frustrating, but we are going to end the half with a touchdown, and I don't know why RG3 is still out there, up by 31 at this point in the game, but coach won't pull him. Evidently, the backup is never going to get any playing experience, as he still isn't out there, and that had to be the easiest win we have gotten all year. The best part is I didn't have a single turnover, and we're just 29 passing yards away from passing RG3's real-life stats. Utah still needs to lose a game, though, and their last one's against Colorado, so that probably is not happening, and if I don't get a spot in the national championship because of that, I am going to lose my mind. TCU is probably going to be the hardest team we faced off yet on our schedule, and the only reason I say that is because they're 93 overall. I know they're 5-6 in this, but they are very good. They obviously made the championship this past year before getting obliterated by Georgia, and that's the roster that RG3 is going to be taking on. Now, he is taking some bad sacks already, which is no good, but I'm going to use his legs like I always do, so we might be able to turn that 2nd and 25 into a 1st down, which is exactly what is going to happen. I don't know how Presley got open on that, but he is going all the way to the house, and I'm pretty sure that TCU is going to score on like every drive, so I guess I can't have any mistakes. The pocket has collapsed once again, which is just frustrating because I don't want to have to try to escape the pocket every single time, but that's what's been happening, and please do not be an interception. That ball was severely underthrown, but we ended up getting away with it, and these blitzes are just coming in like crazy. Fortunately, we are actually stopping the Horned Frogs as well, but I was not expecting them to get this much pressure that easily. Okay, Holmes is going to come away with that though, and I don't know how he got out of it, but there will be no complaining from over here because that's going to be a touchdown. We're starting to have some success, and I would love to be able to bomb them deep here. I'm going to throw this one up, and that was not the right decision. I don't know why I am so determined to go for the big chunk plays, but I'm always going to take them if possible, and it makes these drives so much easier to manage. It just blows my mind that teams will continue to press after seeing it not working, and I just hit the wrong button. That's going to be another turnover. What on earth was I thinking? R1 was wide open, but because of that, it is tied back up at 21, and why is the outside receiver always wide open? It seems like the cornerback on that side is just no good at his job because we've been able to get massive gains on it, and I understand this has not been a great game, but we should be able to take a lead before the half if I can pull something off here. RG3 is a little bit slower than I thought, so we're going to have to attempt the field goal instead, and it is going to be good. For all the mistakes I've made, the fact that we're in this position is incredible, and they're really good at stopping RG3. Any other team I can normally take off there, but not against them, and I'm going to go for the long shot to Gavin Holmes, which is going to get us inside the 2. They might be 50-50 balls, but I love throwing them, and now that we're backed up on our own goal line here, I do not feel very comfortable. That should have been an interception. I don't know what I was thinking throwing that ball, but I'm just glad we got away with it, and never mind. That was such a terrible safety to take, and our defense really has held it down. We are on another 3rd down though, so I'm going to have to hopefully get this picked up, and I'm afraid that this game might be the reason that RG3 doesn't win the Heisman because I've made a ton of questionable throws. I don't even know what I was thinking in that scenario. I don't have Patrick Mahomes, but I'm still chucking it like I do, and that should be picked. When I lose the Heisman at the end of the year, you all are going to know why, but the halfback screen is at least going to get us the 1st down on this drive. So if we can come away with a touchdown, we'll be up by 2 possessions, and I will feel a lot more confident about this game, but that's going to be the 3rd interception, and this feels like one of the earlier matchups we had in the season. Without a conference championship, this performance literally might cause me the Heisman, and I am not going to be happy when I lose, because that means I'll have to give away a jersey to one of you, but I did it to myself with all these turnovers. I might be out $150, but I'm hoping that's not the case, as there's still a chance we can have a good ending to this year, and I can't believe what I'm seeing, but with 2 minutes left, TCU is punting us the ball back. It makes absolutely no sense for them to do that on a 4th and 6, but now we're 1 1st down away from being able to take them down, and coach has me going 5 wide, which means I'm probably just going to step up in the pocket, scramble, and make sure to go down. At this point, I'm pretty sure that we can start taking knees, but the game is not letting me do so, so I guess I'm just going to have to sit back in the pocket, and how on earth did this happen? The computer sent 1 player at us, but at least now we're getting the option to run the ball, which is going to work out perfectly, and that is definitely game. Well, that certainly wasn't a Heisman level performance, but I guess the touchdowns outweighed the interceptions, because guess who's still number 1? With more good news, I can't believe I'm saying this, but number 1 Ohio State ended up losing to Michigan, so they're no longer going to block us from making the championship, and I was able to finish the last in-game challenge from EA against TCU. We've now put up better stats in every category than RG3 did in his Heisman campaign, and I'm hoping that we can finish off the other 2 challenges on that list over the next few weeks. But to make the championship in the first place, we have to take down Texas. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do so, but I have a feeling they're going to give us a tough time. And I am a little surprised that this team is 5-6 because on paper they are insane, and I guess that's just how it goes, like real life as well. So maybe this game is more realistic than people say, and I just hope that we can continue to play against a 5-6 team and not a 92 overall one. To end the first quarter, I am going to go for the end zone, and they locked up the tight end, which is what I looked at on that play, but we're still going to get an open receiver, and they have started to score. But what I've realized is this has to be a big game if I want to win the Heisman with RG3, because we don't have a conference championship one for him to play in. So this needs to turn into a shootout just so I can put up a ton of points and make sure that we secure that trophy. I'm thinking that if I can get 5 or 6 touchdowns, that'll be enough, and this scramble is going to go for a nice 20 yards at least. But my biggest fear is throwing like 2 or 3 picks, and then all of a sudden I have no chance at winning the Heisman. We will see what happens. That is going to be right on the money. So at least I can say as of now, we are just fine, but that might not last, and that was a really dumb throw, but we're going to come away with a big gain instead. I just make some dumb decisions under pressure, which is why I should probably take off, but they have players there just set to stop me, and it's still not going to work because we're going to get 15. This video has definitely showcased a lot more gameplay as well than normal, so let me know if you all want more of that in the future. But what just happened? How does he have the ball and we have got to get over there to make a tackle? What on earth? I don't understand how our running back could have lost it there, but that just ruined a perfectly good drive where we could have gotten points, and RG3 is still standing after this. I have no clue how, but it is going to work in our favor. I have seen him break like 50 sacks in this video, which is realistic, but it's just wild to see. And I'm used to the computer doing that to me, not me getting bailed out by it. That is a dot though. And so far, I feel like it's safe to say this game couldn't be going better. I mean, I might have taken a few sacks, but we haven't given up any points, and I regret saying that immediately. I hope that this game is not smart enough to count that against RG3, because in all reality, it really wasn't his fault. But that could be the play that loses him the Heisman if we don't score a lot of touchdowns. I am frustrated by it, so I do want to just throw it up, but I understand that probably would not be the right decision. We did break another sack though, and that's going to lead to a huge play, except it's going to be an interception. He was wide open. How did that happen? Oh gosh, we are collapsing right now. And I don't even know if I should continue to try to score points. I don't know what to do. He just lost the football as well. There's just turnover after turnover now, which is not good because again, the Big 12 does not have a conference championship for me to make up for this and get all those extra stats that we might need to win it. The Heisman is probably going to go to Travion Henderson, and I don't know why my offensive line has decided to stop blocking within the last few plays, but it's definitely causing us to struggle, and I have almost no time to get this ball out. And I guess my best option is probably just to instantly roll out. I'm not even going to try to make a read here. I'm going to juke this guy out, and that's going to lead to a huge play. I need to finish this drive with a passing touchdown, and that is going to almost occur here, but down inside the 5, it can get a little tight, so I need to be careful here, and my best decision is probably just to try to scramble in, which is going to work. At this point now, I should probably be running out the clock instead of going for more points, but I feel like that's what I need to win the Heisman, and that wouldn't be the case if I hadn't committed so many turnovers, but I'm probably at like 25 interceptions on the season, so it's a bit different. On 4th and 2, I am going to go with the trusty slowing it down because I feel like this can help, and the tight end is going to be open. Now that I've gotten used to using it, this feature is actually super helpful, and I am going to go for more points if we can get them. I do not want to fail this game mode. It is my first time attempting it, my first time playing it through, and I feel like I can get all of the challenges complete. RG3 is going to scramble for a big gain here, going for another 15, and I'm starting to get greedy, but I just want one more touchdown with him. I think that could secure it, and what was that? I had Square wide open, but he decided to dive on the ground instead, and this time he misses him. I'm going to be very annoyed if we can't pull this off now. I'm going to go for R1, and that would have been a pick. I don't know why I'm so determined to get more points, but being greedy is just not going to pay off as I can't get anything. And in the end, I have to hope that this stat line is enough. I ended up finishing with over 5,000 passing yards, 56 touchdowns, and only 20 interceptions on a 62% completion percentage, and additionally another 894 rushing yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. But with 11 fumbles, that brings my turnover total up to 31, and that means I averaged almost 3 a game, but I'm going to advance the week, and the Heisman is in. We ended up winning it, so that means there's just one challenge left that I have to complete. It's going to be us versus Utah for the national championship, and of course this game ended up being in the rain, so that might end up leading to a lot of issues. For some reason, I just stink playing in bad weather, and right now we are not getting anything open, so it looks like the Heisman and record-setting quarterback is going to go 3-0. Obviously the Utes ended up scoring, so we have to respond back, and evidently the Big 12 was just a little bit easier than anything else because we are struggling massively right now. But Presley is going to break a tackle. there. And I feel like I haven't called out his name in a while, but he has been our most consistent receiver throughout the year. So I need to make sure we continue to look his way, and these blitzes are insane. I have no time to even react to them, and that should have been an interception there. But since it wasn't, we can still get in, and that's not going to happen. Leave it to Utah to be the team that can stop our offense. And it turns out we just got bailed out on a kick return. I can't jump into those plays, so I just simmed it, and it worked in our favor. But then I watched Utah go down the field and score a touchdown, so we're still trailing the Utes, and I still can't find any reads that get open. I don't know if it's the camera angle that just makes the pressure feel like it's coming in a lot quicker, but I feel like I have to try to escape the pocket almost immediately, and Utah sent the blitz there, but it's not going to work because RG3 is going to break free and go down at the 20. More like the 15, but whatever, that's not important. What matters is we get into the end zone, and I probably shouldn't be running around like this in the pocket, but it's so hard not to do so when you're using someone like him, and this is going to be an interception. I should have known better than to throw it to the tight end, but at least we somehow got it right back off of a fumble, so we're still going to be able to go up by 7. Unfortunately, Utah ended the half with the touchdown, and then they got ball to start the second half, which they also scored on. So right now we're actually losing by our biggest deficit yet, and time is going to go by fast if we are not able to score. So I'm going to try to throw this one up, and that is going to be just long enough. Thank goodness Presley comes down with it, because now we're on the 10-yard line, and you know that that's going to result in a touchdown. I also thought we should have gone for 2, but coach didn't think so. But honestly, I don't even care, because once again, the defense was able to come up clutch, and RG3 has so much green space ahead of him. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it into the end zone, but he is going to get all the way down to the 2, and it's a rare situation, but I finally have an option play call to take in. I really can't even complain if our defense gives up 6 here, because they're still the only reason we're in it, and on 3rd and goal, they are going to end up please getting the stop. No. It looked like he was able to fight his way in, but evidently he was marked short, and they're just taking their 3. I'm not going to lie, I feel really lucky right now with all the things that are going our way, and even though I made a lot of bad mistakes, I'm going to control the outcome of this championship based on how I do, which is honestly all I can ask for, because we have the ball, and I am going to take a sack here, but I am still confident that I can turn this into something, and I'm going to be looking up the seam to the tight end who is going to come down with it. Ben Sims has been incredible, and without him, this season would have definitely gone very, very differently, but I couldn't get us in there, so we're going to have to settle for a field goal. In all honesty, we might be safer having our defense on the field instead of our offense, but it is so hard to watch without being able to control the outcome myself. They're at midfield with about 2 minutes left, so they are in a decent position now. They're going to be on 4th down though, which gives us a chance to get a stop. They go with the pass instead of the run, and it is going to be a catch. I thought we had them, but Cam Rising rose to the occasion, and now he is holding onto the ball with way too much time in the pocket, so I am starting to get nervous. Also, I have to say, this camera angle is very interesting, and because the computer's dumb, they're taking timeouts for us, even though they're the ones that are about to score. That's going to leave us with just 45 seconds left, and I am going to go for the bomb here. It's going to be a bit of an underthrow, though. I'm nervous, and that's going to be an interception. This whole video has come to a halt. I am not able to get the win, and this had been working all video, but I don't know why RG3 threw that ball to the inside like that. That's what happens when you can't control where your wide receiver goes, and because I wasn't able to complete the 6th challenge of the video, I'm going to give away a jersey to a random commenter, but make sure to leave a way for me to contact you like Instagram or Twitter.